as entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights.
What are the three primary obligations of a CEO? The three things is like, dude, you've got to have these cold. And it's something that not all CEOs do. I'm going to go through and I'm going to tell you about each one specifically and why they're so incredibly important. And I've seen this hundreds of times. All right, so I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19, built them, bought them, sold them, wrecked them. Studied entrepreneurial strategy at Harvard. I've helped take a handful of companies all the way to billion-dollar market caps. And one of the primary things that I see is that the CEO needs to step away, and just because they can doesn't mean they should. And the three things that they absolutely have to do, that they need to be 100% in line, critical, that they're focused on, are number one, creating a common vision. This may sound silly, but if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. Most organizations, most individuals lead their life in almost a reactionary phase. But when you create a clear, crystal clear vision, and ideally you're going to coordinate with your entire team and collaborate with them, and you're on the same page, anything becomes possible. But if you don't know, you're going to meander, you're going to react, and things will bounce all over the place. So the primary pieces when we first start thinking about are that clear vision. With the vision, I like to steal from Collins, we talk about a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Think about what is it you want to go? Huge, big, simple terms. This may be harder to do than you think, but it's absolutely critical you do it. Now, one of my favorite examples of this, love him, hate him, doesn't matter, is Elon Musk. When you walk in the door at SpaceX in Hawthorne, California, you look up on the wall and there's two giant pictures. One is as Mars is today, and one as Musk envisions it as a colonized planet. That's it, right there, crystal clear. This is their why. This is the giant vision, because nobody thinks Musk is the easiest person to work for. Nobody thinks you're going to get paid the most money, but people who go in there become evangelists because they want to participate in that. So once we have that big, hairy, audacious goal, then we go through and we want to create just basic strategic planning. This is where we'll have a 3 to 5 year vision. What are the things we have to do to make sure we're on track for those things? Because then that becomes a forcing device that helps us back into, all right, what are the goals, the 3 to 5 things we've got to get done cold this year? And then once we know that, we're going to break it down into 90-day quarterly objectives or rocks. And in some cases, we may even do 30, 60, 90-day sprints. But it's a matter of how do you eat an elephant? I know that's not politically correct, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But first, we have to figure out where we're going and creating that vision. Number one obligation of a senior leader. Number two, I have a very annoying fly here in my hippie van. Number two is making sure that you're very, very clear on the ideal structure. This is probably the least sexy, the least fun, and the most annoying and abused in most organizations. But collaborating with your team and coming up with a common, our collaborative leadership team that understands this is the structure we want to own. Start with structure first. Structure first, not people. Within this, we usually go through when I'm doing the exercises, and we'll start and we'll do a flow of people all the way through, or excuse me, the flow of a customer. How do we handle things and then where do we hand it off? But we want to understand, what is it that people are genuinely accountable for? And when we do this, we keep it really, really, really simple. I like to use the analogy of the center on a football team. If we have a center on a football team, the person shares our values, they're smart, they're hardworking, they buy in, great. And let's say that the center needs to be accountable for 4 things. They need to read the line, they need to listen, they need to move the ball, and they have to move people. And they have to do that really, really well. Now, if the coach puts somebody in there who can read the line, their knuckles are going to go white, somebody's going to blitz. They can listen, they hear they're calling an audible, can snap the ball, but the poor bastard weighs 145 pounds. I don't care how much heart that person has, that person is not going to be able to move people. But now, if the coach can find the same person who can go through and say, look, I know there's these 4 things. You still have to take care of the plays and your nutrition and all this other stuff. But realistically, I need you to do these 4 things. And that person weighs 450 pounds. They are strong as an ox and they can do those other pieces. It becomes a no-brainer. That is the type of thing in the team you want to build. When you build that ideal team and they know, hey, this is what I am genuinely accountable for. They understand the vision and they know how they're contributing to achieve that vision. Huge, very, very big step. And the next step in associated with this is, how do they know if they won that week or they lost? This is easy in sales. This is easy in conversions. This is easy in certain delivery products. If you're the center on a football team, how many yards did you achieve? How many did we have 0 sacks? But it's the kind of thing that the right people, when they're crystal clear on what they're accountable for and they know where the vision is going, man, if they have success metrics, they start holding themselves accountable. There's an old adage that says that as soon as you start to have to hold somebody accountable, you've probably made a hiring mistake. Well, the adage is wrong in that if you're not clear on what the vision is and what somebody's accountable for, then that's actually on you as the CEO. Making sure you collaborate to achieve it. You don't necessarily have to do it all, but you do have to collaborate. And then the last piece. So the first one is that clear vision. We got to be crystal clear on where we're going and what success looks like in as simple term as possible. The second is you have to build a structure that is rock solid so people are crystal clear on what they're accountable for and how they're helping achieve that vision and how they know if they won or lost that week. And then the third, and this is one of the most critical pieces with a CEO, is you've got to build a great team. And when you have the common vision, when you have the structure, and when you're clear on what your values are, you're going to be able to go out and find other people who share those values, are in lockstep with your thinking, and also great at what they do. Now, the byproduct of this that comes out of this is going to be your ability to trust them. And this is one of the biggest keys in one of the things that I see eat up CEOs more than anything, is maybe they have somebody who they like, but they aren't really good at what they're doing, so the trust isn't there. But if we don't trust people, so it's the right people in the right seats that we can trust implicitly. And to be clear on that, when you have the right person shares your values and they're in the right seat, they fully understand how they're contributing to success and the vision, and they know how they're being tracked for success, and they understand where that vision goes, everything works. If you have somebody who is not in alignment with the vision, or maybe they're in the wrong seat, it's your job to be ruthless but compassionately accountable and hold them accountable and coach them up or coach them out. But when you have this sort of clarity, the right people are going to start to step in the right ways. I fervently and passionately believe that these are the primary obligations of the senior leaders, especially the CEO. And you have to do this as a senior leader with each of the members of your team. So ideally, you found some value. If you have interest in having one of our coaches and advisors talk to you more about this, I'd be happy to talk to you. Please feel free to reach out. Look forward to hearing from you. Keep smiling.